Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Turn on your videos. Type your attendance. You can mark your attendance now. Okay, take page number 37. Page number 37. Diya and Sridev, turn on your video. Okay, shall we continue? Did you read that portion that we have already studied? Yes or no? No. Just no, Sean. Yes. Okay. Then, okay, now we can continue. Where did we stop?
Miss, page number 37.
Page number 37.
Fourth paragraph.
Yes. Under my feet, isn't it? I think under my feet. Up to that. No. Then which one?
Miss, ആ പാരഗ്രാഫ് മൊത്തം എടുത്തില്ല.
Salad, we have discussed that the taste, isn't it? Taste of
Yeah.
aniseed, okay. Aniseed water, anchovy sauce and salad dressing. Okay, these are the medicines or the bottles taken from the shelf and given to this boy. Okay, boy David. Then I'm going to continue this. When she had administered these restoratives, as I was still quite hysterical and unable to control my sobs, she put me on the sofa with a shawl under my head and the handkerchief from her own head under my feet. Yes. After that, we have already said that this boy started to cry, isn't it? Now also, yes. Now also he can't control his tears. When she had administered these restoratives, restoratives means given these medicines or tonics. Okay, that means that liquids, that fluids taken from the shelf. Okay, that is now she is administered these restoratives as she was still quite hysterical. Hysterical means emotional. I was still quite emotional. That means now also he is crying. He is emotional. Okay. Then and unable to control my sobs. Sob means cry, weeping or crying. And now also this boy, David, is not able to control his emotions. That is not able to control his cry. Then she put me on the sofa. Then this David says that his aunt, Miss Betsy, put him on the sofa. She put him on the sofa. She put David on the sofa and with a shawl under my head. Yes, then This on put a shawl under his head. Okay, under David's head. She put this David into a sofa. Then she put a shawl under his head. Then and a handkerchief from her own head under my feet. Yes, you can see in this picture. You can see a kerchief in his head, in her head. Okay, on Betsy's head you can see a handkerchief. Okay, she take that handkerchief and took put it in under the head of this David in that sofa. Okay. Sorry, not head, feet, under the feet. Is it clear? Next one. After a time, she rang the bell. Janet said my aunt, when her servant came in, go upstairs, give my compliments to Mr. Dick and say I wish to speak to him. Yes. After a time, she rang the bell. She means Miss Betsy. Aunt Betsy rang the bell. Rang a bell. Janet said my aunt when her servant came in. Yes. She called Janet. Janet is the name of their
Servant.
servant. And Janet came into that room. Go upstairs, give my compliments to Mr. Dick and say I wish to speak to him. Yes. Here Miss Betsy. On says that. On says to this Janet, the servant, that go upstairs. Okay. Go to the upstairs and give my compliments to Mr. Dick. That means call Mr. Dick. A person is there, that is Mr. Dick. We don't know who is Mr. Dick, but there is a person named Mr. Dick in the house. Okay. And this aunt calls Mr. Dick. Aunt says to Janet that call Mr. Dick and say I wish to speak him. Then you want to say this aunt wish to speak to him. Okay, so call Mr. Dick. That was the order by this aunt to the servant Janet. Okay, is it clear? Then Janet looked a little surprised to see me lying stiffly on the sofa, but went on her errand. Janet looked a little surprised to see me lying stiffly on the sofa. That means, who was lying stiffly on the sofa? Who was lying on that sofa?
Janet.
Janet.
David.
Yes, David. David was lying on that sofa. We have already said that Miss Betsy put him to a sofa. Then she put a kerchief under his head and another handkerchief which is in Aunt Betsy's head under the legs of whom? David. Okay. So now David is lying on a sofa, and this Janet looked towards this boy who is lying in the sofa. Okay. She was surprised to see this boy and lying stiffly on this sofa. Lying stiffly means this boy is not at all lying in a relaxed manner. Okay. He was crying. So this servant looked surprisingly. Okay, this servant becomes surprised to see this boy, and but went on her errand. Yes, she looked at him and but went on her errand. Errand means job or work. She went for her own work. He just looked to this boy and she went for her own work. What was her work? What was her work? A work was given by Miss Betsy. What was the work?
To call Mr. Dick and say I wish to speak to him.
Yes. Her work is to call Mr. Dick, who is in the upstairs. Okay. Then next one. My aunt, with her hands behind her, walked up and down the room until the gentleman came in laughing. Okay. During the time, this servant went to call. The servant go to call Mr. Dick, and at that time, my aunt means David's aunt, with her hands behind her. കൈ പുറകിൽ കെട്ടിയിട്ട് നടക്കൂലേ കൈ പുറകോട്ടേക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ കെട്ടിയിട്ട് എന്താ അങ്ങോട്ടും ഇങ്ങോട്ടും നടക്കുന്നു അതാണ് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത് he walked up and down to the room okay until the gentleman came in until Mr. Dick came in this aunt walked up and down through the room okay is it clear yes next one let's revise what did Miss Betsy tell David when she first saw him at her house what did Miss Betsy tell David when she first saw him at her house Miss Betsy means aunt first yes go away yes go away go along no boys here okay this was the first words by Miss Betsy to whom David next question what did Miss Betsy do after giving the restoratives to David what did Miss Betsy do after giving the restoratives to David after giving the medicines that are taken from the bottle what did Miss Betsy do
She put me on the sofa with a shawl under my head and the handkerchief from her own head under my feet.
yes very good Miss Betsy put this David on the sofa with a shawl under his head and a handkerchief from her own head under his feet. Okay, you can see it in last paragraph. Before the last paragraph. Okay. She put me on the sofa. Did you see that? Yes. Next question. What did Miss Betsy ask Janet to do? What did Miss Betsy ask Janet to do?
Go upstairs, give my compliments to Mr. Dick, and say I wish to speak to him.
Yes, very good. Go upstairs, give my compliments to Mr. Dick, and say I wish to speak to him. That is just below the answer that we have already said. Okay. Did you see that? Go upstairs, give my compliments to Mr. Dick, and say I wish to speak to him. Okay. Is it okay? Shall we continue? Mr. Dick set my on. Don't be a fool, because nobody can be more discreet than you can when you choose. We all know that, so don't be a fool, whatever you are. Okay. Here we can see dialogue between this Mr. Dick and on Betsy. Mr. Dick say set my on. My on means David's on. David is the speaker here. So we can see I, my, okay. I, my, these are, this denotes David. Okay. That is Mr. Dick said my on. Don't be a fool, because nobody can be more discreet than you can when you choose. Yes, here on says to Mr. Dick that don't act like a fool, because nobody can be more discreet. You can see the meaning discreet. Discreet meaning careful and sensible. That means this Dick is a very careful and sensible person. So don't be act like, don't be pretend like a fool. These are words said by on to this Mr. Dick. Don't be act like a fool. You are careful. You are more careful and a sensible person. We all know that. Yes, we all know that you are a sensible person. So don't be a fool, whatever you are. So don't behave like a fool. This is the first dialogue by on to Mr. Dick. Then the gentleman was serious immediately. Yes. Now the gentleman means this Mr. Dick. He become serious. Before he was not a serious. Okay. After hearing these words by Miss Betsy, this man become serious immediately. Immediately means suddenly. Then Mr. Dick said my own. You have heard me mention David Copperfield. Now don't pretend not to have a memory, because you and I know better. Okay, here one says that Mr. Dick, you have heard me mention David Copperfield. You have heard about Mr. David Copperfield. Okay. Now don't pretend not to have a memory, because you and I know better. Then this Miss Betsy says that don't pretend to be, you don't know that David Copperfield, because we both, I and you, know this David Copperfield very clearly. Okay. Is it clear? Then David Copperfield, said Mr. Dick, who did not appear to me to remember much about it. David Copperfield, oh yes, to be sure, David, certainly. Yes, David Copperfield, said Mr. Dick. എന്തോ ഒരു പരിചയമില്ലാത്ത പോലെ ഇങ്ങനെ ചോദിക്കൂലേ ഡേവിഡ് കോപ്പർഫീൽഡ് that's the way. Okay, who did not appear to me to remember much about it. I don't know more about, or I don't remember him. This Mr. Dick says that I don't remember him, David Copperfield. And David Copperfield, oh yes, to be sure, David certainly. Oh, എന്നിട്ട് നമ്മളിങ്ങനെ പറയില്ലേ ഓ ഡേവിഡ് കോപ്പർഫീൽഡോ ആ എനിക്ക് ഓർമ്മയുണ്ട് അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഡൗട്ട് പോലെ ഇങ്ങനെ പറയുന്നു. അതാണ് ഈ ഡയലോഗ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. എവിടെയോ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലോ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു നമ്മൾ പറയില്ലേ, അതേപോലെ ഇയാളിങ്ങനെ മിസ്റ്റർ ഡിക്ക് പറയുന്നത്. അതാണ് അവിടെ വീണ്ടും ഡേവിഡ് കോപ്പർഫീൽഡ് പിന്നെ ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ മാർക്കൊക്കെ വരുന്നത് വീണ്ടും. ഓക്കെ, David certainly, yes. At last he confirms David certainly. അവസാനം ഓ ഡേവിഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് മനസ്സിലായ രീതിയിൽ പറയുന്നു. Okay. At last we got idea about that David. Okay. Well, said my own, this is his boy, his son. Yes. At that time, Miss Betsy says that yes, that David. ഡേവിഡിനെ ഓർമ്മയുണ്ടെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പൊ ആ ഡേവിഡ് തന്നെയാണ്. This is his son. This is his son and his name is also David. David, our central character is David and this David's father's name is also David. Okay. Both father and this son have the same name. David Copperfield's son is David. Okay. This Miss Betsy says that this is his boy, his son. He would be as like his father as it's possible to be if he was not so like his mother too. Yes. This David, then this on says that this David is like to be his father. Okay. And if he was not so like his mother too, not so like എന്താണ് കുറച്ചൊക്കെ അമ്മേനേക്കാളും ഈ എന്താണ് അച്ഛനെ പോലെയാണ്, ഡേവിഡിനെ പോലെയാണ് ഈ കുട്ടി എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. Resembles like David, not like his mother. Okay, is it clear? Then his son, said Mr. Dick, David's son indeed. Yes, this Mr. Dick again says his son, like a confusing question. Okay, his son. After that, David's son indeed. Indeed means definitely. That is, ഉറപ്പായിട്ട് ഇത് ഡേവിഡിന്റെ മോൻ തന്നെ. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു സംശയം പറയുന്നു, പിന്നെ അയാൾ പറയുന്നു യെസ്, അയാൾ അതുമായിട്ട് അഗ്രി ചെയ്യുന്നു. അങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇവിടെ പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ. Then he has pursued my own. Pursued means continued. On continued. Yes. This is David's son, David. David Copperfield's son, David. My own continued. And the question I put to you is, what shall I do with him? Yes. Here, on raises a question. On asked to Mr. Dick, what shall I do with him? What shall I do with him means, what shall I do with this boy? What shall I do with this David? This is the question. This on wants to get an answer. That's why she called Mr. Dick from upstairs. Okay. She don't know what to do with this boy. Okay. Is it clear? What shall I do with him? ഞാൻ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്, ഈ കുട്ടിക്ക് വേണ്ടി ഞാൻ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? അതാണ് ആർക്കറിയേണ്ടത്? ഈ ആന്റിക്ക് അറിയേണ്ടത്. അതിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് മിസ്റ്റർ ഡിക്കിനെ വിളിച്ചത്. ഓക്കെ, ക്ലിയർ അല്ലേ? Then, what shall you do with him? Said Mr. Dick, feebly scratching his head. Oh, do with him. Mr. Dick is also confused. He pretends to be confused. ഇങ്ങനെ എന്തൊക്കെയോ ഒരു സംശയം പോലൊക്കെ ഇങ്ങനെ എന്താണ് pretend. He's pretending like he's in a doubtful way. Okay, that is, what shall you do with him? He's also raising the same question. What shall you do with him? Feebly scratching his head and he's rubbing his head. That shows he is also in confusion. Okay, he also he also don't have idea what they should do with this boy. And yes, said my own with a grave look and her forefinger held up. Come on, I want some very sound advice. Yes, this on says, I want some advice. Forefinger held up means pointing the forefinger. Forefinger means this finger. Okay, pointing the finger towards that man and says that she wants some advice. That is what to do with this boy. Okay, clear? Then grave look means serious look. This aunt is asking in a serious look. We want to get a serious answer from this man. Okay, what to do with this boy? Next one. Why, if I were you, said Mr. Dick, considering and looking vacantly at me, I should. The contemplation of me seemed to inspire him with a sudden idea, and he added briskly, I should wash him. Okay, at last they got an idea what to do with this boy. Okay, if I were you, said Mr. Dick. Mr. Dick is saying to this on. If I were you, ഞാനായിരുന്നു നിങ്ങൾ ഞാനായിരുന്നു എങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ എന്ത് ചെയ്യും എന്നാണ് ഇയാൾ പറഞ്ഞു കൊടുക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത്. Okay, looking vacantly at me. Vacantly means without showing any interest. Yes, this Mr. Dick is looking towards this boy, but he doesn't have any interest to this boy. Okay, this David says that Mr. Dick is looking towards him, but he is not at all interested to him. Okay, and says that says in a sudden idea, and he added briskly. Briskly means quickly. Suddenly, this Mr. Dick says that I should wash him. But did he do? He should wash him. If he were Miss Betsy, he should wash this boy. Wash means make a bath. Okay. He should make a bath, or he should wash this boy. This was the idea. And then Janet said my own, turning round with a quiet triumph, which I did not then understand. Mr. Dick said us, all right, heat the bath. Yes, then after that, after she got an idea what to do, to wash this boy. To wash this boy was the idea. So she once again called Janet. Who was Janet?
Servant.
Yes, servant. She once again called the servant Janet and says, turning round with a quiet trim, which I did not then understand, Mr. Dick said us, all right, heat the bath. Heat the bath means make water ready for wash this or bath this boy. Okay. That means heat the bath. The bath was a great comfort, for I began to be sensible of acute pains in my limbs from lying out in the fields, and was now so tired and low that I could hardly keep myself awake for 5 minutes together. When I had bathed, my aunt and Janet enrobed me in a shirt and a pair of trousers belonging to Mr. Dick, and tied me up in 2 or 3 great shawls. What sort of bundle I looked like, I don't know, but I felt a very hot one. Feeling also very faint and drowsy, I soon lay down on the sofa again and fell asleep. Okay, here the bath was a great comfort. Okay, for whom? The bath was a great comfort for whom? For whom? Son, for whom? The bath was a great comfort for whom?
David.
Yes, David. ശ്രദ്ധിക്കുന്നില്ലേ? Then, for I began to sensible of acute pains in my limbs from lying out in the fields. Okay. Now David says that he can sense acute pains, small pains in his limbs. Limbs means legs. Okay. He was much tired, isn't it? So he can feel some pain in his legs because from lying out in the fields, because he was moving from one place to another without proper rest or proper food. Okay, he was working all that places. So his foot or his legs is now filled with pain. He can sense the pain in his leg now. Okay. Then I was now so tired and low that I could hardly keep myself awake for 5 minutes together. Okay. He says that he can't sit uh, 5 minutes properly. That means he is in a sleepy mood. Okay, here you can see I could hardly keep myself awake for 5 minutes together. It is not possible to keep myself awake. എന്താണ് ഉറങ്ങാതെ ഒരു 5 മിനിറ്റ് ഉറങ്ങാതിരിക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്ത ഒരു അവസ്ഥയായിരുന്നു അത്രയ്ക്ക് ഉറക്കം വരുന്നുണ്ട് within 5 minutes he will become sleep. Okay, ഉറക്കത്തിലേക്ക് പോകും. He will fall into sleep. He was that much tired. Then, when I had bathed, my aunt and Janet enrobed me in a shirt and a pair of trousers belonging to Mr. Dick and tied me up into or 3 great shawls. Enrobed means enrobed. Meaning of enrobed.
Dressed.
Yes, dressed. Enrobed means dressed. Then after the bath, my aunt, that means Miss Betsy and Janet. Janet is the servant. They dressed this David in a shirt. They dressed this David a shirt and a pair of trousers belonging to Mr. Dick. Yes, a pair of trousers. That was the trousers of Mr. Dick. Okay. They put a shirt and a pair of trousers to this boy and tied me up in 2 or 3 great shawls. Then they covered this boy with the 2 or 3 shawls. Okay. Then what sort of bundle I looked like? I don't know, but I felt very hot one. Okay. Now he is like a bundle. ഒരു കെട്ട് പോലെ തോന്നി എന്തോ ഒരു പാണ്ടക്കെട്ട് എന്നൊക്കെ പറയില്ലേ തുണി വെച്ചിട്ട് അവര് പൊതിഞ്ഞു വെച്ചിട്ട് ഇവനെ കുളിപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് ഷർട്ടും ട്രൗസേഴ്സും ഇട്ടു അതിനുശേഷം they made a bundle like a bundle. They made him like a bundle using shawl, 2 or 3 shawls. Okay, is it clear? Then I felt very hot at one. Yes, now he felt very hot because he is covered with this shawl. So he felt very hot. Feeling also very faint and drowsy. Faint means weak. He feels he is very weak. He feels he is very weak and drowsy. Drowsy means sleepy. Now he feels he is very weak and drowsy. Drowsy means sleepy. I soon lay down on the sofa again and fell asleep. Then David lay down on the sofa and fell asleep. He started to sleep. That is, fell asleep. Is it clear? Yes. Next one. It might have been a dream originating in the fancy which had occupied my mind so long. But I awoke with the impression that my aunt had come and bent over me and had put my hair away from my face and laid my head more comfortably and had then stood looking at me. The words pretty fellow or poor fellow seemed to be in my ears too, but certainly there was nothing else. When I awoke to lead me to believe that they had been uttered by my aunt who sat in the bow window gazing at the sea from behind the green fan which was mounted on a kind of swivel and turned anyway. Okay, we have only 4 minutes remaining, so we can make the discussion after this period. Okay, so anybody please read the first portion of the lesson. Sean, please read the first portion.
Lesson 5. David visits her aunt. Go away, said Miss Betsy, shaking her head and making a chop in the air with her knife. Go along. No boys here. I watched her with my head at my lips as she marched to a corner of her garden and stopped to dig up some little root there. Then, without a scrap of courage, but then a great deal of dispersion,
Desperation.
I went softly in and stood beside her, touching her with my finger.
Okay,
If
Sean, okay. Then, and Shreya, please continue. Shreya.
If you please, ma'am, I began. She started and looked up. Please, and exclaimed Miss Betsy in a tone of amazement I have never heard approached. If you please, aunt, I am your nephew, or Lord, said my aunt, and sat flat down in the garden path. I am David Copperfield of Blunderstone in Suffolk, where you came on the night when I was born, and so, my dear Mamma, I have been very unhappy since she died. I have been slighted and thought nothing, and thrown upon myself and put to work not fit for me. It made me run away to you. I was robbed at first setting out, and have walked all the way, and have never slept in a bed since I began the journey.
Okay, Shreya. Enough. Okay, now we can wind up our class. You have one more period. Okay, we can continue the period. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you.
thank you, Miss.